Thank you so much for today. And it's push up Africa and Ngcangca walking barefoot because the entire crew here, Otebs and Abo Sizwe.
Should not find Kumula, ne?
And I'd like to send a shout out to Sebi, who's visiting us for the day, and a shout out to her institution. We're going to put it on the map so that students from there can be criticized. The open window. So, this is not a paid promotion, but open window, you better pay us. Because really,
you can't promote those ish. Oh, yeah.
You want to edit it out?
It's a number of views. Dude, imagine they get 10 students from this. That's like 1 million. How much is school fees there? Like for 98 every single year.
Can we never?
1 million.
Yeah,
that's 1 million.
Can we never get retrospective? Like, thank you. But it's going to be selective, Ntwana, because we mention other brands when we're here, and they don't pay us. We'll speak about the Patriotic Alliance, but okay, they're not giving us money.
I guess I just have a thing for film schools. They're lying to these kids, man.
You went to a film school.
That's dope.
You went to EFTA.
Yeah.
Shout out to EFTA. EFTA must give us money.
No shout out to those people, man.
City Varsity in Boston. Caesar says, anyways,
Yeah.
they must pay us. We must find a smart way to make money from those people. If not them, some of the stuff we need to brainstorm with Debza is how can we market a product or a brand without being paid, but get the students or the consumers to almost donate because angas mastermind somehow. Mr. Siyabulela Ngcangca, welcome back to the Penuel Show.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing, sir?
No, grand. I'm good. I'm still trapping.
Does it feel weird when I call you sir? Does it feel like I'm being fake?
I think you are being fake.
You think I'm being fake?
Yeah.
I'm trying to respect the occasion and the moment because you're a guest and it feels wrong for me to treat you differently from other guests. I can't be like, come on, you've been
that's
here.
why Mangan, like I said, come this side.
It's a psychological thing for me.
But how does it help you as a person?
It reminds me that you are just as important as anyone else. We could have Barack Obama here, who people think is a big deal. We could have, who else people think is a big deal? We could have Putin here.
You just try to
I would like
everybody
Putin to drink the same rooibos you're drinking.
Yeah.
And I'd like him to get the same treatment same treatment you're getting.
Yeah.
And it must never be, hey, now I feel
yeah.
and I'm like, so I think it's a psychological reminder for me.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Otherwise, how
I haven't seen you in a while, bro. Are you good?
I'm good.
You've lost weight.
I have, actually.
How much weight have you lost and in what period?
I've lost 20 kilograms in 5 months.
That's insane.
I started, I think, the whole thing 6th of June.
6th of June, 2023.
2023.
Today is I
think it's the 12th.
It's the 12th of November.
Yeah.
No, because I don't know when this episode will come out. 6 months. I can imagine Siotaki.
Yeah.
Siotaki. Where Taki is. As soon as you lose that amount of weight, we are
Gula, yeah.
Uloyiwe,
Yeah.
Petwe stressy.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any of that?
No. I'm actually extremely joyful. I'm quite happy.
Not that have you been stressed or whatever. I'm asking, have you gotten people around you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my mother is one of them. Everybody actually. I was like, I know you must stop now. I think you're okay. You look good actually.
Yeah.
No, you don't look good. I mean, you look sick, and I think you must stop. So I was like, no, it's fine. I mean,
are you comfortable to discuss weights? How much you weighed? How much you weigh now?
Yeah, for sure.
Or how much you weigh now? Then we'll just add 20 kgs.
I think it's educational. I weigh 87 now.
Okay.
And I was 107.
Jeez.
Yeah.
When did you decide to go on this journey and why?
I think the truth is, I think I wanted to go on this journey long time ago, actually. But what happened is that, when you're not ready mentally, you cannot be able to do things.
Yeah.
The heart wants to do it, but, and I know the benefits, because what I found beneficial for me was that I educated myself a lot about the issues of being obese, the issues of being, too fat. And even if you're skinny, if you don't take care of your intake, you will sort of invite a lot of sicknesses. I mean, there's a lot of diseases today that people are having.
Yeah.
Like young kids having strokes, young kids having diabetes type 2, legs getting chopped off.
People don't understand that. People have to chop off fingers, hands, legs.
I'm telling you.
Because of diabetes.
Yes. And those things, you can actually self-heal. You don't have to go through medication and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to take tablets. And if you're diabetic or you have high blood issues, you can self-heal. You can actually literally self-heal. You don't have to take medication. You don't have to. Even cancer.
You were skinny growing up.
Yes,
what led to you gaining weight?
Bad habits of eating.
Good life.
Not good life. Like eating junk. I mean,
is it not because you were making money? I asked this because maybe if you had a soft upbringing, you could have also...
But there's a lot of people without money that are obese and fat.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. They just bad eating habits.
Sure.
People think that when they're hungry, they have to eat. You don't have to eat when you're hungry. You have to eat when your body sends you signals. And hunger is not a signal to eat. Hunger is just a bad habit. Because if you ignore it for an hour, it will go away.
Are you going to show you, Baba?
I'm telling you.
You're going deep now. Dr. Sebi,
I know Dr. Sebi.
I was shy, Baba. So we've been taught that what's healthy, and this is what doctors, Western medication teaches us.
Yeah.
3 meals a day, 3 balanced meals a day. Mm-hmm. If you want to speed up your metabolism, 5 small meals a day. Where possible, snack, bananas, seeds, and those things. And then, very importantly, we've been taught breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So you have to start your day off on breakfast.
I think that one killed a lot of people because, if you postpone your breakfast, to 11 or 12, it's actually good for you because you need to give an opportunity to your gut to be clean. You need to give an opportunity to your liver to recover, from food. Eating sugar is as bad as drinking alcohol for your liver. It's as bad as that.
Do you know what the liver does?
The function of the liver.
Yeah.
It's like a supervisor for your whole body.
Process, cleaner.
Everything goes through the liver, right? And then it will take sugar, put it aside. It will take fat, put it aside. That's why people have fatty livers,
Mauti put aside clocker.
No. It puts it aside so that the body can use it.
Okay.
But an excess of it tends to fat.
Okay.
And then it's bad fat. It's not good fat.
Sure.
Yes. So you need fat for your body, but you need good fat for your body.
Okay.
And you need a certain limited amount of fat for your body.
Yeah.
So for me, the crossover for me is that I read 2 books. One book was The One Thing. And
the book is called The One Thing?
The One Thing, yeah.
Sure. Do you know the author?
I'll
find it. Please carry on.
And the other book that I read that was a crossover for me was Mini Habits. That one actually was a crossover.
Mini Habits. So the book, The One Thing, is by Gary W. Keller.
Yeah.
And Jay Papasan.
That's the one.
The other one you said Mini Habits.
Mini Habits.
By Stephen.
That's guys. The one. Yes.
What did you take out from these books?
So Mini Habits, it's quite interesting actually. What Stephen says is that when he started, because he wanted to sort of build habits, if he wants to do something, he says that he met a lot of people, they say that discipline is actually rubbish, because you fall back all the time. But if you develop habits, it's difficult for you to fall back because it becomes part of your DNA, it becomes part of your life. So he says that he started by doing 1 push-up a day.
Just one?
One. Because when you develop habits, you don't fight with your mind. You work with your mind. When you develop discipline, you're actually fighting with your mind. You're going to lose for sure.
Because it becomes a lot of work.
It becomes a lot of work. It becomes painful. But when you develop habits, what happens is that 1 push-up a day, it's ridiculous. People will laugh at you.
It sounds silly.
And for sure. So when I started as well, I started by walking.
Yeah.
Every day I wake up in the morning, walk for an hour, walking very slow. Then obviously over a period of time, without you noticing, you increase speed a little bit, you walk a little bit faster, then you walk a little bit faster, then you decide to, you know what, because I was never a big fan of running.
Sure.
Then I decided, okay, let me try to run for a kilometer, then walk. Then I started, I'm developing those habits until such time it becomes part of me. When I wake up in the morning, I'll read a piece of information or listen to a video, or watch a video or listen to an audio something.
Yeah.
And also it helps me to I've read, I think, close to 30 books this year.
This year alone? Yeah. 30 you read or audio?
Audio and reading.
Okay.
But
You've
mostly
consumed
audio.
over 30 books.
Yeah,
this year.
consumed, over 30 books, about 30 books, yeah.
This is from Mini Habits.
This is, Mini Habits I've read as part of the books.
No, I mean, Mini Habits speaks about those type of doing small things.
Do small
that
things.
accumulate.
Yes. So the thing is that when you want to, say you want to lose weight, or you want to be healthy, or whatever the case might be, the best thing that you can ever do for yourself, it's not to rush and force and try to compete or whatever. Do it slowly, so that it becomes joyful as you do it. As soon as it becomes painful, imagine if you say, I want to lose weight, then you go run for 10 kilometers. You're not going to run for a month.
The next day or for the next week, your body's going to be sore.
Exactly.
So from there, the habit is broken.
Exactly. And in any case, walking, actually, for fat burning, it's actually better than running.
You and I have had this argument.
We had it, yeah. So running, it's good for your... No, wait.
No, I'm trying to think of whether we should have it again.
Okay, no, let's not have it.
No,
I'm just saying.
Please make your point.
Yeah. So the thing is that...
No, you can still explain why you believe walking is better for weight loss than running.
Yeah. No, let's not...
No, I won't debate you. Okay, I just like people to hear your opinion.
No. I think for me, it's practically I proved it, because the first 10 kilogram I lost it by only walking.
Yeah.
And I was just walking an hour, like casual walk. And obviously that time as well, the habits of eating bad stuff was not completely out of the system.
Sure.
So then I thought to myself, you know what? Then I researched about it actually, and I read about it. And I realized that actually, if you walk consistently and continuously almost every day for longer hours, you actually lose weight. And then I started running as well. And
this was after you'd started walking a lot,
yes,
to a point where you're like,
yes,
I think I can start
running,
turning it up.
Yeah. So then I started running, and running as well, it's actually good. You actually lose weight as well when you're running, But all I'm saying is that I'm trying to give to people to say, you don't really have to run for you to be able to lose weight. You can start by walking. It's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier. You don't have to fight with yourself. You don't have to fight with your body. But if you educate yourself more, you'll strengthen your habits. Yeah. You need to read, why am I doing this? Why am I fasting? Stay 48 hours without eating. Why should I do that? Why should I stay 24 hours without eating? Only drinking water. And as well, you don't have to over drink your water. 2 liters a day, 3 liters a day. Me and you had this argument, and I actually believed drinking 3 liters a day was actually good. Actually, it's not good for you. You need to drink water when your body needs it, not when you feel like, I need to drink a lot of water. They say 2 liters of water is good for your health. Some of these theories have not actually been proven that they're good. Actually, other people have proven that it's actually not good for you to consume a lot of water. And water that does not have electrolytes, it's just dead water.
What are electrolytes?
Like sea salt. If you put sea salt in your water, it's actually good. Not a lot of it. It's actually good for you.
Sea salt.
Yeah.
Electrolytes.
That's why when I have my black tea, I'll have it with pepper, salt and pepper.
Black pepper.
Yeah, black pepper. Yeah, it's nice.
Your biggest takeout from the one thing.
From the one thing is focus.
Because you said these were the 2 books that
the biggest takeout really from one thing is that it's focus. Not multitasking. Multitasking is actually horrible because you never get to do something complete or effectively.
Yeah.
And you focus on one thing. You focus on yourself. It teaches you about how to strengthen your mind, and it teaches you about your willpower, that your willpower is at the best, at the peak in the morning. That's why it is better to exercise in the morning than to exercise later. So the one thing, it's actually one book that it opened my eyes actually, about a lot of things in life, that we're chasing a lot of things that actually don't matter.
Yeah.
We're chasing a lot of money actually that does not translate to happiness or being joyful.
Yeah.
We're chasing a lot of things that affect our health, actually. You have one life as well.
Sure.
And this one life, you need to take care of it.
What would make you question Western science, because that's essentially what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Challenging the drinking 3 liters of water, challenging the 3 square meals a day,
Breakfast.
challenging breakfast is the most important meal of the day. What would allow you or give you the confidence or the arrogance to fight against this? Because you're not arguing with people on social media. You're arguing with what people call science.
Yeah. So, I mean, science is debate, right?
I don't know. Science is debate. Is science not exact? Everyone says trust the science.
It's debate. That's why science evolves. You know, that's why there's research all the time.
Science is not meant to be rigid.
It's not meant to be rigid.
So when people say trust the science, it's like, no, we're saying it's been tested, but you can always challenge.
Yes, you can always challenge. It's debate. Yeah. If you can't debate it, it's not science.
If you can't debate it, it's not science.
It's not science, because science evolves, right, over time. So someone said, because they wanted to make a lot of money, breakfast is the best meal of the day. You must have Kellogg's in the morning.
Yeah, that's where it actually comes from.
That's where it started.
Yeah.
So it's just a company that wanted to make money, a lot of it, and it made a lot of it because people believe breakfast is the best meal of the day, and as soon as you eat breakfast, your whole system actually shuts down.
Yeah.
You know, you feel sleepy, you lazy the whole day, you can't think properly. I've done 72 hours of not eating, and my energy level was through the roof. I could still run, I could still walk, I could still do. My energy level is so high until I go to sleep.
What do you think causes that?
It's because, number one, I mean, gut cleaning is quite important for people. That's why Dala maybe spade, and then when the Western people came through,
spade is an enema. Sorry.
Yeah. And then they discouraged that, and then Tina, ourselves, we started mocking each other, Maupeita or whatever the case might be. Now, the Western people have brought back a spade. They call it gut cleaning. It's important for you and whatever. And now everybody wants to do it.
And there's detoxing, and there's fasting, and intermittent fasting.
I'm telling you.
Things that we did naturally.
As
Africans.
I mean, onion, it's actually the best antibiotic. Onion is the best antibiotic. And
eating onion, raw onion.
Eating raw onion, it's the best antibiotic. Now I will.
And antibiotics, you need to get a prescription. You can't just get them over the counter.
No. And because I mean, people want to make money, and I don't really blame them. But you need to take care of yourself. You need to make sure that you safeguard yourself. I mean, everything, you know that there's a lot of lies, right?
I know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of lies. People lie for reasons that will benefit them.
Correct.
And if you yourself, you don't take care of yourself in terms of making sure that your health, it's good, because you're only having one health. I mean, you have this body. If you don't understand it, it's a complete, complex ecosystem. This body, it can self-heal, it can sort of reset. But if you're eating food every day, you never give it an opportunity to self-reset. You know, you're killing your liver, you're killing your intestine. They're not functioning well. Your gut is always full. You don't give it an opportunity to. There's something that they call self-eating. Big word, I think it's autophagy or something like that. So it's your if you don't eat for longer, period. Yeah. Then your body starts self-eating.
Eating itself.
Inside your gut, right?
Hectic.
And what it does is that it eats the dead sort of bacteria in your stomach, and because those are the ones that causes cancer and all other sicknesses. Yeah,
autophagy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Autophagy. Okay.
So it starts doing that. You know, your body starts self-eating, which is actually very good because it eats all the body starts eating the dead cells, that are the dead bacteria.
But there's a limit to that.
There's a limit, obviously.
Yeah.
So once that happens, then you feel so good. I promise you, and I think people should try it.
I want to read the definition here of electrolytes, and then I want to do the liver. Electrolytes are essential for basic life functioning, such as maintaining electrical neutrality in cells and generating and conducting action potentials in the nerves and muscles.
That's it.
So those are electrolytes. The 3 main electrolytes are sodium. You spoke about sea salt.
Yeah.
That's salt. Potassium, which we find in bananas, and chloride.
That's why Abantu, when you're having ipapalas in the morning, like a hangover,
Sure.
they say you must go get those sachets, that rehydrates. That is essentially that. Read the packet, the thing.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
The liver. The liver is the storage location for fat-soluble vitamins and handles cholesterol homeostasis. It stores iron and copper. It plays a role in hematology with clotting factor and protein synthesis. The liver plays a role in heme breakdown into unconjugated bilirubin and conjugates it. Aye, Baba. Let's go easier. What are the 5 functions of the liver? Filtration, digestion, metabolism, detoxification, protein synthesis, and storage of vitamins and minerals. And what's important, I think, in your point is the filtration and digestion, because if you're over-hyping or if you're over-clogging it with sugar and fats,
it won't function
it's difficult
properly.
to filter, it's difficult to digest, you can't detox.
Yes.
I am so passionate about health. I think you know this.
Yeah.
In my belief system, Penuelism principles, I think I've got 2 or 3 chapters specifically based on what you've said. The one is healthy living, where I speak about, I just didn't know there was a book called Mini Habits. These small things, and maybe I'll mention some of them. Carrying your own groceries in the mall instead of pushing a trolley.
Yeah.
Carrying your own children. It's a form of gym. Walking as much as you can. And I think when I was on Podcast and Chill, I mentioned also the body, which is another chapter. The importance of a body. How your body is a weapon. You can fight people, you can kick people. Your body is transport. If you don't have money for an Uber, Bolt, a taxi, you can walk to wherever you're going. Your body has your computer, which can calculate things.
Yep.
It is a form of shelter.
Yeah.
Outside of clothing, outside of a house, you can go and sleep under a tree or in the veld, and this thing here, and it regulates temperature as well. The importance of the body. And then the last one I want to mention is trauma, because I think, so the one is focus, the other one is mini habits. I've got a chapter there on trauma and the importance of trauma, and that without trauma, you cannot achieve anything substantial in life. You look at someone like Siyabulela now with the Springboks. I'm using him as an example, particularly because he plays in the forwards where there's a lot of collisions. Siyabulela.
That's what they call him.
One of my mates, I think, calls him collision. Siyabulela.
Okay.
You cannot, as a 60 kg guy who's never played rugby, jump on a field and do what it does. You'll break your ribs, your back. You'll get seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Now, that's the idea of, I want to lose weight. I'm going to run 20 kilometers today. You might get sick. You might collapse.
You might die.
You might even die.
Yeah.
Now, what trauma does, or what trauma is supposed to be, because my whole thing was trauma can be good, but it must be gradual.
Yes.
If you can take that 60 kg guy and say, look, you're going to start with 1 push-up. You're going to lift 5 kgs. You're going to, over time, after 6 months, after 12 months, after 5 years, your body's been built. And I make examples of education, doing, let's say, 1 math sum a day. I use the example of running. If you run 20 kilometers and you've never run, you'll tear something. But if you've been running 2 kilometers every day, the day you run, to what you were saying, you started walking and then later on running just became easy. It's that gradual, incremental.
I actually like the example you've made about maths. I remember grade 11, I actually failed maths so bad because I struggled with it.
And you're a mining engineer today?
Yes, I struggled with it big time. And one day, so now they didn't want me to go to grade 12. They said, nah, you need to change, you need to do history or geography.
Sure, drop maths.
Drop maths, it's not good for you. And I'm coming to that example. So then I decided that, you know what, I'm going to try to do 1 sum until I get it right, until I understand, until I do, then I start doing 1 example of the same, but a little bit different sum. And I will do like 20, 30 of them until such time like it's boring, you know.
I get it now.
Then I go to the next one and I finish the whole book. It was a thick book. I think it was 800 and something.
The whole textbook.
The whole textbook.
Doing sums.
There's answers at the back. I go check. Then I started enjoying it so much that I started doing those, you know, the study guides, right?
Sure. Pythagoras, study and master.
All those things. I was enjoying it now. For whatever reason, Then I took the same spirit to science. I took the same spirit to
Science has got physichem.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then I it was so nice, and my metric maths, I think it was 87 high grade.
87% from failing in grade 11.
I think I got like 29 or 31%. I can't remember.
Gary Vaynerchuk and Sal Khan. Gary V, who became very big in online at some point. Yeah. One of the things he said is you can't quit making online videos after like 3 and be like, yeah, but it only got 5 views. He's like, make 100, make 500. Mr. Beast has said the same. He didn't think he was going to be as successful as he got, but he was like, I'm going to have 1 million subscribers. But he was like, every day I'm going to work hard. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to try and improve the color scheme. I'm going to change the caption. I'm going to change the content. I'm going to try a skit. I'm going to try a... So Gary says, do 100 videos. Then be like, you know what, I think I suck.
People give up too early. And people do that because I think, I'm not sure if it's an environment that we grow.
It is environment. That's Robert Kiyosaki. We're taught to hate failure, which is against engineering and progression.
Yes, actually. I love failure. I was telling we were having a conversation with this other guy. I was like, you know what? You know how powerful it is to say you don't know.
Yeah.
And people they don't know that I don't know is powerful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful because you are one step from being better than you were before.
Sure.
By gaining new knowledge.
I don't know is the first step. So don't be in denial. Then the second step is, I'd like to find out.
I'd like to find out.
Manje, if you pretend like you know, when you don't know, you'll never find out.
You'll never, and it's a horrible habit that sticks with people. It sticks with you because I don't know whether we have self-esteem issues or what. Because if I don't know something, I just say, I don't know.
It's conditioning.
Then I say, can you please educate me? Then you'll come and say, and if I'm wrong, I'm the first person to say, I actually think you're right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
And that is actually so powerful. And people think it's not powerful.
They think you're taking power, yeah. You're taking power away from me. I can't say sorry, daggy you.
You know the movie like Eminem
8 Mile.
8 Mile.
Yeah.
You know the last battle that Eminem did.
When he trolls himself.
Yeah. Then you go inside and then he went on stage and he started dissing himself. And he took all the power from the other guy, because what does the other guy have to say now? Sure. Nothing. Because he said all the bad things about him.
So Sal Khan founded the Khan Academy. He started off by making videos for I think he said his nephews and nieces, if I'm not mistaken, helping them with maths online. He sent the videos. People started watching them, I think, on YouTube. And they were like, please make more.
Yeah.
Fast forward, his channel became something impressive. Bill Gates and other people decided to fund it. Today, the Khan Academy, you can find it online. It's got videos on different topics.
But it's huge as well.
So he gives a TED talk, and he speaks about mastery. And he says one of the issues we have in our education system is we put kids on a conveyor belt, and we almost don't care how they progress. It's almost like we have got a week to build a house. Yeah. In that week, you must have put up the foundation, because in week 2, we have to start laying the bricks. Now, in that first week, it rains. Guys don't come through. The cement is still wet.
You know why?
But you're like, you know what? Start putting the brick.
You know why? Because people don't realize that we live in an imperfect world. And people wants everything to be perfect.
Of course.
And if it's not perfect, because we live in an imperfect world, then they start to stress, they start to, compete unnecessarily.
And look for shortcuts.
And start building a house, using a certain foundation.
Yeah.
And hoping that it doesn't rain.
That sounds like our government and RDPs. So Usal says one of the issues we have in schools is we don't allow kids to master concepts before they move on.
Yes.
By the time the child gets to grade 11, grade 10, and they're struggling with maths, it's not because they're struggling with maths. It's because you didn't solidify the 1 + 1.
Yeah.
And the 2 × 2. So by the time you add more complex concepts and the foundation is weak, so you went to the core and you said...
You want people to hate maths.
And you're going to say these kids struggle with maths, they're bad at maths. Like, no, it's because you took some arbitrary average out there in the world that this should normally take 3 weeks for the kids to get.
Every human being is teachable.
And you like, give this person 6 weeks, let them master the concept, which is what Finland has gotten right. And this is why they have the best education system in the world. They've removed grades. They don't have grades. they have competency. So whatever you call a grade 8 or grade 9, I'm doing maths at that level, but it's not because of my age or because I'm in this grade. So master this thing first, then move on. And it's one of the beautiful things about pure engineering, pure science, what you were saying, and even technology. This concept of we will get it right. Let's see the code. What is wrong? Let's go back. Let's go back. This thing didn't work. It collapsed. That's fine. What can we learn? Okay, these 5 things we did right. These 3 we did wrong. So let's try and fix these. And our schooling system, even at 87%, which was brilliant. What happens with true academics and nerds is they're like, I want to go to that 13%. And you're like, no, Baba, but you got 87. It's like, that's not how my brain works, Baba. I want to figure out like, oh, I missed 7 there and I made a mistake here. I didn't quite get this.
Yeah.
We don't have this culture in schooling, and whether it's because of time, resource, where we're saying every child, whether you got 40%, 60%, 90%, every child will go and figure out what they got wrong. And then this week or next week, we're going to set a test just for the things you got wrong. You've already got 87%.
They can do that.
Let's do this 13%. Do it again.
Yeah.
And then we'll be like, no, we'll see in this time got 87. Then we gave him another week and then he added the 13. So he's got 100%. He can move on. We don't have that in our education system. And we demonize, as Robert Kiyosaki says, failing to a point where...
Demonize failing.
And this is why academics and professors are not liked by the real world. They have this thing of anytime you make a mistake, they laugh. When you speak broken English, when you got the sum wrong, when Zuma reads a number wrong, instead of being like, no, give him a chance. And being like, let me correct him. Sorry, Baba, no, it's this amount. We laugh. He can't even, you're like, but why didn't you give him a second chance?
Yeah.
We're not about that. You must be perfect now. Otherwise, there's something wrong with you. And I do believe as we decolonize education, I know we were speaking about health, as we decolonize education, we're going to have to go back to how are we imparting the education?
But how long is that going to take, Ben? That whole process.
We've got technology now. So what technology does is it allows children to almost self-educate at their own pace.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in grade 3, shout out to a Chinese boy called Sherman Lam. He's a businessman in Hong Kong now. Me and Sherman, there were these workbooks that you work towards. And in 1 year, maybe you do 2. We'd finish them quick up until we finished all of them. Same thing happened with me in the library in primary school. I murdered all the books in our school library. Then I went to the town library. Now with technology, you can do it in real time where if you've just done a sum online with Study and Master or Pythagoras, the algorithm should be able to then bump up the complexity in real time. And if you fail it takes you back. But if you keep improving, so with technology, it shouldn't take us long. It should actually be quicker.
You're continuously becoming better than you were
continuously, before. And that's mini habits.
That's mini habits.
I'm
telling you, you can change your life, Pen, by only doing that. You don't have to, this thing, no pain, no gain, I think it's also nonsense. You can gain now with technology and everything. You can gain a lot in your life without going through pain.
I've structured my perfect day as a concept. There's a couple of concepts I've discovered in life. One of them is these 2 Irish boys who created some fintech company that is pretty dope. They've got a watch. So they cycle everywhere. They're at Silicon Valley. They've got a watch which calculates the probability of when they'll die. So every day they see how many years, months, weeks they have left to enjoy. Just as a concept. I've created a concept of a perfect day.
I think I've seen a movie like that. I forgot the name of the movie.
Dying, maybe you're thinking of In Time, Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
Justin Timberlake. A concept movie. It's about money, but money is time.
Yes.
And if you're poor, you have negative time that you borrow.
Yes.
And if you're rich, you have generations of time.
Yes.
I've created a perfect day, and in my perfect day, I've highlighted all the things that make me happy, all the things that allow me to add value to the world.
That's actually dope.
And all the things where I can extract value. And every day I try to, and it's broken down into hours and minutes, including exercise. I've got the number of push-ups, squats. I've got things like watching a good movie. I've got things like making an artwork. And making an artwork and maybe writing a song is not meant to be, today I'm going to make an artwork. It's, I'm going to work on an artwork for an hour.
I think your level of focus has gone to a different level, a higher level, because you need to be very focused for you to be able to do that.
I wanted to speak
And
about
that's not
the focus
multitasking.
and multitasking. So I wanted to speak about the focus and multitasking, that we've got 24 hours apparently. And normally it's split in 3. 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of productive time, and 8 hours of amasimba. Rubbish on social media, scratching your bum, taking a shit, eating.
Yeah.
And most of us don't maximize these 8 hours. But you want to take 8 hours and just conceptually, because right now I'm learning French through an app called Duolingo. It's a pretty dope app to learn languages.
I'll check it out.
You must check it out. You must check it out. Bonjour, comment ça va? All those things. We want to speak about Guinea. If you can just be like, just 30 minutes, just 15 minutes. There's an amazing billionaire, I just forget his name. He structures 15-minute meetings. And he integrated his children into meetings. I'll give you 30 minutes. But I'm your son. I don't give a fuck. I have a certain life. And I will schedule you in. I'll switch off everything. How's school? How's your report? Because this is how I'm moving. So I've done that. And I think it's very important in terms of mini habits. Because the reality is, if you want a perfect life, you paint a picture of Messi, Ronaldinho, LeBron. And then you
That's
work
what social
backwards.
media does. You know.
So there's the perfect world. Then you work backwards to today. This is where I am today, 107 kgs. Where do I want to be? 80 kgs.
Yeah.
Now you work back. I need to lose this much, and I'd like to do it within this time. Let's call it 5 years. So I need to lose. By the time you break it down, and for a stingy guy like me, this works. This is how I get to spend big amounts of money. I'll take 5,000 rand and I'll divide it by months and weeks so that I'm like, oh, Istatulung is 10 cost me 3 rand a day. So then I don't mind paying 1,500 for a sneaker. But you work backwards and you're like, if I just do 10 push-ups and cut down 1 slice of bread and I eat 1 less Vos roll, over time it accumulates. By the time you look up, and people are like, how did you do it? You're like, I did the maths, science. I did this thing and it works. And Yabo Leo Walker is the one that hurts me the most, because overweight people are committing, I can't say these words on YouTube because they trigger algorithms. We're actually going to have to censor words moving forward, I've realized. But they taking your own life. I think that the algorithm doesn't pick that up. So when you overeat and you live unhealthily, we're fighting the world, Baba. You could get mugged. You are taking your own life by overeating.
You actually doing that.
And all you need to do is walk for 30 minutes a day, and all you have to do is cut down your food consumption by 10%. So don't finish. I had to learn, don't finish the class of fizzy. Don't finish the sandwich. Don't finish the plate. And you know, in African custom, it's rude to not finish. Be like, I'm going to start a new habit. I'm going to eat everything I eat, and I'm just not going to finish it.
So yesterday, I'll just on that. So yesterday I went with Ulungisa to Pretoria, and we got there, and then they dished for us.
Lungisa Chele, Dalungi.
Yeah. So it was 3 of us, so I drank water. There was fizzy drinks and biscuits and and good food. They really cook nice.
Yeah.
And Begune Dombole, which is my weakness. And
you talk about food, not food. A woman. Oh, okay,
food.
Oh, sorry, my bad. My mind went somewhere else.
So, and then they said we should eat. Then I said, no, today I'm only gonna eat at 2. And that old lady just looked at me and says, why 2? I said, no, just.
So someone's home.
Yeah, someone's home.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
No, not.
No, I'm saying from an African perspective.
Oh yeah.
To turn down a gift or.
But there was the husband of the elderly person, like smart guy.
Yeah.
Like he I think he worked for SABC but he was a camera guy for all his years.
Yeah.
So he was like, I like your that you're straightforward and you stand on your word and very sort of respectful. And other people will take it otherwise.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I will not take it otherwise. If you want skaftin, we'll give you skaftin at 2, you can eat. Then I said, nice. Then I took skaftin. And then they ate, and I was just sitting there. So self-control as well, and not living, being under pressure unnecessarily. People feel that there's nothing, if you respect your health, there's nothing disrespectful about that.
It's your body. It's
my life.
It's your life.
Yeah, it's my life. Why?
You're trying to please people by overeating.
I will never do that. I've crossed that line long time ago. I don't try to impress people. I don't go around hating people. I don't wanna. But if me being sort of respectful to my body and my life and my mind, it's gonna insult you. I'm sorry. You can take the insult and multiply it by 10.
I want us to speak about Dr. Sebi and Africa. And before we do that,
actually, one of the books that I'm going to read, I think I'm gonna consume probably like 4 books before end of the year, and one of the books is Dr. Sebi's book.
Dr. Sebi,
yeah, talking about diet and inflammation, etc.
So another hack in terms of weight loss is whenever you're hungry, have a glass of water.
Yes.
Or before a meal,
yes,
drink a glass of water.
Yes, so that we can eat
foundation,
less.
Yeah,
so that we can eat less.
Very important.
Yeah.
John Kellogg is the name of the guy who founded Kellogg's. It started off as a rumor and a conspiracy theory, and then it was confirmed. So staunch Christian, very staunch. And when you're a staunch Christian, you don't believe in sex before marriage, and you also don't believe in masturbation. Staunch Christians are like masturbation is evil. So part of his getting young men to stop masturbation was, I think the psychology was, guys wake up in the morning, like you said, in the morning you have the most energy.
Yeah.
And that's when they spank the monkey, is what white boys call it. And it's like to get guys to avoid playing with themselves, let me create something for them to eat in the morning. And he created the cereal. It was actually to stop masturbation. People don't believe the story. And that cereal became cornflakes. And then with that cereal then became breakfast is the most important meal of the day, of which breakfast, the term, comes from breaking your fast. So you fast until you break it in the morning and end. And what's important, one of the big important things for people to take out from what you're saying is, we are not robots, even though we try to be.
Yep.
You should only eat when you are hungry or when you need to eat, to what you're saying.
When you need to eat.
You should only rest when you are tired.
Yeah.
And ideally, outside of capitalism, you should only work when you are inspired and energized to.
Yes.
And if we could create lives like that, I think we could achieve so much more. Don't eat because, look at the time, it's lunch.
Yeah, it's 12 o'clock, it's lunch.
But guys, look, it's bedtime, it's 9. There are people that are designed nocturnally to be most productive.
Let me just switch off this.
At 2 a.m, etc., etc. There are people who, no, go for it. There are people who only work best on a Saturday, Sunday, at 3 o'clock in the morning, but you've told them you can't. That's sleep time. You must eat. I want to eat now. My body's hungry. No, you missed lunch. But my body's telling me, no, you must eat lunch. Dr. Sebi is very important for people to understand and learn, not so much to accept C. Moss and his teachings, but to understand that a formerly uneducated guy went and he studied, like Umsholozi, went to study science and healthcare on his own. When we speak about honorary doctorates, we speak about someone who went to study the thing on his own, and he went and he challenged the norms, and he claimed that he could cure HIV and cancer, of which cancer is a multiplication of cells. It's almost like a virus in the body, and it starts crowding. It's like a colonizer of the body, and it expropriates without compensation.
Yeah.
Trying to do all of those things. He's been in the awakening of African people, African Renaissance, being woke, people starting to embrace African spirituality, ubungoma, ubunyanga, ukuba isithunywa, understanding the way we used to live, organic, detoxifying just in the way we live, onion, garlic, ginger. He's worth studying just for us to be able to, what you say, debate science. I bring up Dr. Sebi because you drink teas.
Yes.
And I used to laugh at you.
Debs was laughing at me now, and you were laughing at me putting.
What teas do you drink? Where do you get the teas from?
Hibiscus.
And what do they do?
Hibiscus.
Hibiscus tea.
Hibiscus tea, red tea.
Or hibiscus. Pronunciation doesn't matter.
And the other one is called Kinkiliba. It's got a very difficult English name, but Kinkiliba, it's the name coming from Mali.
Can I find it online?
Yeah, you can find it. Yeah.
Kinkiliba.
Kinkiliba, and you spell it exactly like that.
With a K?
Yeah. And it's green tea, very, 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 very good for you, for your health.
Sure.
And as well, now recently I would take almost every morning.
I see the name, sorry. Kinkeliba, also known as sehau.
Yeah.
In English, it's called Combretum macranthum.
Yeah,
is the African infusion of long-life Kinkeliba leaves, which contain flavonoid, antioxidants, promote digestion, anti-aging, physical well-being, and quality of sleep. So hibiscus tea, Kinkeliba.
Yeah. And now I've got seeds. I'm gonna plant both of them because it's difficult to get them. I normally get them, from Mali or Guinea.
Mali, the country, and Mali, Guinea, the country. These are both West African countries.
West African countries, yeah.
French speaking, both.
French speaking, yeah.
Okay.
And I will also take a cup of chai seeds, and luckily I found a place where I can buy them here, so which is good. They're very good for you as well.
Hibiscus tea and Kinkeliba is difficult to find in South Africa, is what you're saying?
No, hibiscus tea, I think you can get it at one of these
pharmacies.
I think. But it's quite expensive, and I think it's processed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's processed.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it's processed, then I don't really trust it. Because,
sure.
Yeah.
Those are the two teas you drink.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go into West Africa. Apparently, one of the reasons why Asian people are so healthy is because they have infused what we call medicine into their diet.
Teas.
When you speak about mini habits, and they drink apparently different teas throughout the day. When you might think ukoko wako shamati au 5, of which 5 roses ikleni trinko. But a Chinese koko or Japanese koko will be drinking rooibos, highly sought after in the world. Will be drinking green tea. Will be drinking maybe a hibiscus. Will be drinking. By the time you look at it and you're like, but why are you so healthy? What do you take? And they say nothing. And you realize it's because their food has got onion, raw onion. It's got maybe garlic. They always make sure they have ginger.
And less stress. Stress is actually as well one of the most horrible things that is killing people as well. And eating bad sort of perpetuates stress as well.
Eating bad.
I mean, overeating, eating bad. I mean, you will definitely. I mean, how does your body and your brain function properly if you're eating so much? And one of the crazy things for me in my journey was that I started to regain my eyesight properly because
your eyesight.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Actually, I went to check it. I think I went for when I arrived there in Moz. I went for medical checkups.
Mozambique.
Yeah, medical checkup, and then they said no, I need to get glasses. When we do that
eye test.
Yeah. So and then I went back again to check because I read about it as I was consuming a lot of information about my health, about fasting, about diet, etc. And then I read a paper where they were saying that also it helps with you will regain your eyesight. Then I said, no ways.
That doesn't make sense.
Then I went to check for sure.
Eyesight improved.
I passed. Yeah.
They normally link eating raw carrots as well to better eyesight. I don't know how true that is, but it's one of the
So what I do now with carrots, actually, I just boil it and drink the water.
Drink boiled carrot water?
Yeah. That's all I do.
So we spoke about the teas diet. People can go and look up these things.
They can go look.
It's very important. I'm only speaking about putting these things in your diet so that people don't understand why you don't catch colds. And it's because your food is your medicine.
Yes. And they fill you up, Pen. They fill you up. You don't have, people think that eating a lot of food gives you energy. It takes a lot of energy away from you.
Because your body is like a machine. It constantly has to crunch and crush.
I mean, your body, you're overworking your body.
Yeah.
And, but giving your body what it needs, these herbs, that were there a long time ago, by the way, these sicknesses that we have today, they were never there before. They were like minimal. We
need to go back. And I hope that Izinyanga, our traditional healers, our African pharmacists, are going to help us in hopefully compiling books. Some of the other things are things like incense, which now people say they're from India and Asia, whereas we have impepo. But I'm trying to think, before it was criminalized with Western colonizers, the idea of visiting a home where they're burning marijuana, idaga, and you're like, I don't understand why whenever I visit Kwatebs, I'm always relaxed and I'm happy. And he's burning that as an incense. And his mom gives me rooibos. And every time I visit that home, my stomach gets cleansed and my stomach runs or whatever. You're like, no, it's not. They detoxify my mind and just mini habits, just tweaking what you're smelling, what you're eating, and what has been your exposure to West Africa, and how did you find these teas? What were you doing in West Africa? Let people know.
So in West Africa, I was working as a mining engineer, and so I traveled between a lot of countries in West Africa.
Sure. Yeah. How many African countries have you hit?
27, I think now.
Out of 50, do you have 54?
54 now, I think, yeah.
27?
53, 54, yeah. And so West Africa was actually very nice for me. I mean, I've learned a lot. I mean, I came very close to the religion, Islamic religion, and I started learning more about it.
Yeah, 54 countries.
54, yeah. So I started learning more about it, and I started learning more about how they live. And I started, this health thing for me, I always had it, always, but it's just that I didn't have the enough willpower to start, And I started it, but, it was based on discipline, not on habits.
Yeah.
And the first tea I found it in Mali, it was this kinky liver, and I started drinking, and I started feeling so good.
Yeah.
After drinking it, so good, so energetic. I started feeling so healthy. When I started drinking those teas, that is the last time I had malaria. Last time ever. And I don't take I don't take malaria tablets. I don't take any, even now, going to Moz. I'm not on injection or malaria tablets or anything. A lot of people are panicking. I don't take those things. I don't get those things.
I actually think of aloe is also powerful, but I've heard there's certain foods. I've heard this story of there's certain foods that if they're in your blood, mosquitoes don't like it. So they might come suck a little bit and be like,
that's the last time.
And then fuck off. That's hectic.
So then I started seeing that how powerful this thing, and I don't know why they don't tell, okay, I know, but they don't tell people about these things.
Yeah. Because you want to kill the hustle, boy.
You're going to kill the hustle for sure.
Yeah.
And then I went to Burkina Faso, that's when I found the red tea, hibiscus.
Yeah.
And I started to think, no, man, this is actually just too good to be true.
Yeah.
Then every time I come home, I'll put them in plastics and boxes and as my luggage.
Looking like you're trading in funny substances. What type of funny weed is this? From which country? You're like, no, it's tea.
It's tea.
Yeah.
So then I decided to buy seeds. So I haven't planted them yet. So I tried to plant and I saw it came up. So I'm gonna plant them properly.
I want to make one more point before we speak about your mining career in Africa. There's something I've come up with in my head many years ago that I call poverty habits. Poverty habits, because they are normally linked to poor people. And the older I get, the more I realize that what I call poverty habits is just almost an African way of living. Something like ukspeta, something like ukpalaza, which is to vomit, burning incense, impepo, fasting. Sometimes I'd go catch taxis, park my car, go catch taxis, because I'm like, this is a poverty habit. I want to be amongst the people, hear the stories. And you can imagine when you're catching taxis instead of driving, you're forced to walk more. You're forced to be in the sun, which is vitamin D.
Which is good for you.
So someone will be like, I'm healthier than you. And you're like, why? It's the poverty habits. You're like, that doesn't even make sense. But they discounted the walking and the sunlight and the sunshine. The number of older women that struggle with fertility, some younger women as well. When you look at how many white European women struggle with fertility and how many today black women who are living a good life, and then you look at what you call poor women that pop 8, 9, 10 babies. Meanwhile, you'll be told their diet is bad.
True story.
They're always walking in the sun, which is unhealthy. Or sisi want a checky complexion.
Yeah.
They don't have money for all these fancy products. Why is it that they conceive so easily, eating a tin fish, carrying a baby on their back? Some of them even drink and smoke, but they still pop babies. The healthiest of the white and black women, the richest, struggle. And I look at even us as gents.
Healthiest, right?
Healthiest. You look at us as gents, the guys who are living well, umkhaba, and their lifestyle. Then you look at amachita who are gardeners. Amachita atohozayo somewhere. The ones that have to carry a bag and walk somewhere, or they cycle. the food they're eating. The guy will have his kaftin in an ice cream container and eat amasi, which they'll tell you it's carbs, starch, uputu. It's amasi, high in fat. You're like, I cannot eat this. You know, when I listen to these modern black girls, are like, oh, I don't want bread. It's got too much carbs.
Yeah.
Then you look at a Lokshan village girl who chows 8 slices. Is slender, and you're like, the maths, Baba, is not mathsing. But the carbs, there's so much carbs here, and it's so Papa. And you're like, so I just wanted to, when you were speaking about habits, one of the last points I wanted to make was there are certain habits that we used to deem poor. Spade, ukpalaza, walking in the sun,
just cut cleaning,
drinking rooibos. Poor people sometimes don't eat because I can't afford. But when you look at their body, they become the supermodels. They are because the way they live, they're not eating
they
like a cow.
Yeah.
They fast more because of circumstance.
Yes.
Now you need to fast because you're chilling with a billionaire and it's like, no, I just want a salad or a glass of water. That's a poverty habit. I'm going to pretend I'm poor and can't afford a meal, but it's so that my body is not, I just found that very interesting. And I think outside of Sankofa, learning from the past, let's actually study the people that have been demonized. You can't do that. That is wrong. That is voodoo. No, it's only poor people. Why are those kids not catching colds? Why are their immune systems so strong? Why are they play outside and they
don't even take their kids to clicks to get a flu.
Zero.
Nothing.
And for some reason they
could.
What we normally boast about with our melanin and being strong Africans, we are slowly eroding away with Western ways of living. Sunscreen, of which obviously all sisters bashange clay and zinc for your complexion, but being out of the sun, the sunscreen we use, we rush, small sneeze, small cough, we rush to take certain meds with side effects and funny things. We're always in a car, we're always in an air-conditioned office, we're always staring at a screen. And the alternative guy who's living a poor life in the village gets to live a long, healthy life. They never get sick, they don't have stress, they're healthy. What have been your biggest takeouts as a mining engineer across the African continent, from business, how African countries work? You've spoken about being exposed to Islam and I guess different medicines. But if you were to, in 10 minutes, be like, this has been my biggest learnings traveling 27 countries and working there as a South African gent from Sterkspruit.
So I think the first one for me was that actually Africans are the most powerful humans because they live in conditions that you as a South African, because South Africans, you live in a soft life. Soft life, Baba.
Yeah. RDP and things.
Yeah. So those people, they're quite strong. They're very strong. And I think it should be like that. So I've learned a lot about that. What I sort of would say, no, this is barbaric, this is this, as because of the way I grew up in South Africa. When I went there, I realized that there's a lot of horrible education that we're getting.
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
So that's number one. Number two is that, Africa holds about 30% of world's minerals, right?
How much?
30%.
Okay.
And that's huge, and Africa is rich, it's but the people that are living in Africa, they're not. When I talk this richness I'm talking about financial richness, right?
Sure. We're naturally wealthy.
Yes.
One of the, if not the wealthiest nation on the planet, but we're the poorest in terms of money.
Yes. So, but these people are strong, and they're strong
physically.
They're very strong. There's no virgin actives there. But this guy, he's got chest, Baba. He's got, they fit 6-pack, everything. And it comes to exactly the same thing that you're saying, that through these mini habits of working and waking, I mean, it's what we call hard labor. To them, it's normal life.
Yeah.
It's normal life. So I lived among them and I created a lot of friends with them. Very good-hearted people I've ever met in my life, even in Tanzania. I know the people, when they meet Tanzanian guys here, they say, hey, those people are, they're thugs and whatever. I've lived there. They treated me so well.
Yeah. I've heard Tanzanians are actually really, really friendly people.
Very, like Guinean people. I love Guinean people. I think they're quite good. You know, I now with the Mozambicans, I've never been there before, but now being there, like it's not what everybody says they are. Living with them, you know, the belief that we say, hey, Mozambican people are like this and this here in South Africa. Living with them, it's like it's like it's not Mozambique. It's not. I'm like, no, it can't be.
Yeah.
So I was having a conversation with one of the guys there. I was like, I don't understand why we're having this mentality in South Africa that Mozambicans are like this and this, but you guys are actually very friendly people.
We're being sold propaganda, and it's not even from within Africa. That's the saddest part. Black South Africans dislike other Africans, not because they've traveled, not because they've spent time with other Africans. It's because of any media from external. A lot of it, unfortunately, coming from white media houses, teaching us that, yo, Nigerians are corrupt. Yo, Sudanese people are like this. Oh, the DRC.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we end up not liking each other.
But until you go live with those people, they will treat you like king. Especially if you're a foreigner. And you like from another country in Africa, they will treat you so well. So very friendly people. Same in Cote d'Ivoire as well.
Ivory Coast, good people. Same in Senegal, very good people. So I was fortunate to go live amongst those people, you know, to interact with them, having good conversations with them, and you realize that sometimes they themselves as well, because of the way it's being marketed South Africa, they want to come here, they say it's nicer here and whatever. But I'm like, actually, it's nice here. There's no crime. I mean, in Guinea, I can walk at night with my phone and I don't have to be worried. Yeah,
I can go anywhere. I don't have to be worried. Same in Mali. I can go anywhere at night. I can walk. I don't have to be here. You can't, Baba. You can't walk through Hillbrow 7 o'clock as soon as it gets darker.
But Hillbrow Neyovel is Africans, mos.
Yeah, but
or you're saying they okay. Back at home, go grand. Mabeza ngapha yashuba.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
But I've lived with them and they're good people. You know, they like extremely good people. I actually find South Africans sometimes the opposite because of what we consume, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we're consuming a lot of rubbish mentally. You know, we are taught to self-hate.
We don't spend enough time with them.
And we don't travel, by the way. South Africans don't travel.
We don't
That's
travel.
Why maybe we are like this.
We don't travel, number one.
Yeah.
But we don't spend enough time with foreigners here. Before you go there, and I'm including criminals. I once had a sit down with Utebza when we were still experimenting with podcasting back in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the things that came out is the reason a lot of foreigners, specifically African, but also some Asian, we don't speak much about European because we won't notice the difference between a white South African and a white European. The reason a lot of them go into crime in this country is because they can't make an income in any other way. This is not to defend them. Crime is bad. It's to say when you actually visit Yeovil, Hillbrow, Sunnyside, and you sit, even with the criminals, it's almost like sitting with the taxi mafia guys here, with the tenderpreneurs, all these bad people. You realize that the guys came here because they come from struggle. And when they got here, they really tried different ways to make money. And they realized no one wants to give us a job, no one wants to fund our business, and we need startup capital. And for the startup capital, we're either getting into dark business loans, or drugs. People. If it gets desperate, you rob people, the dirty stuff, prostitution, etc. And a lot of them, we know the stories, a lot of them, after a while, they clean the money. They start good businesses. Their kids go to good schools, and the guy will be like, hey, my brother, when I got here, it was tough, my man. There were 10 of us staying in one room, and you do what you can to survive. And you're like, but today you've got 5 shops, car workshop, you've got a salon, your kids go to private schools. Like, hey, my man, it's been tough. And you're like, I don't think this is a bad person. He goes to church, he gives to the church, he creates jobs, but he's explaining how he got into the crime. Because as you're saying, a lot of these guys, Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, Nigerians that are here, that some of them commit crimes, when they go home, they don't commit crime at home. They're good kids. Like Goli.
Never.
You've got Zulu boys, Abai Nkabi here. When they go home, they're scared of their mom. The boy killed someone at Jozi for 10 grand. But when he gets home, mama, hey, Tabi Swambo, yebo ma. And you're like, that can't be the Nkabi. You're like, that guy there has killed 20 years. But he's scared of his grands. How you like cannot be. You need to understand the psychology of how this got to doing the things that he did.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, colonizers will try and spin these stories to make themselves as if they were never the reason why we got to this situation.
The best for me, I think, just on that point to mention, was when I went to Ghana, and when I landed in Accra, and I was supposed to take a flight to go to what's this state? I'll remember it. But was going to Takwa, right? Mm. And
that's a state in Ghana.
Yeah, in Ghana.
Okay.
So I decided, you know what? Let me hire a car and drive and drive there. It's long.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see the country.
You had time.
I had time. I wanted to stop, see the country, talk to people, engage with them. And I passed one of the schools. I went through the plantation, rubber plantation, seeing it, rubber, which actually it comes from the tree, And then I went to this school. They said that Robert Mugabe studied there.
Robert Mugabe?
Yeah.
Zimbabwean ex-president?
Yeah. So I went there. And I also went to the castle. That was the interesting one.
Yeah.
The castle is the slave trade place where the slave trade was happening. And so I took a tour. So this lady was taking me through. So I was saying, but they built horrible rooms, man. Like a small room, no windows, no nothing. They close it. Say they keep a guy. They were training them. Whoever survives the strongest, then they can sell them at a high price. And then there's a point of no return room where they will just keep in a small room, keep a lot of O's standing, and some of them die. And a few that survive, then they go through a tunnel, then they go to their ship and they get sold.
Never to come back, only to be seen as LeBron James.
Yes.
One day.
One day.
Sorry, that's not even funny.
And, yeah. But what was interesting is that at the top of that building, the point of no return, there was a Catholic church. And I asked this woman, why there was a Catholic church? That's why in Ghana, in the middle of West Africa, they are mostly they are Christians.
Yeah.
And the surrounding countries are Muslims, right? And it comes from that. So they were training Ghanaians to be Christians so that they can forgive. God is good. We're doing this for good. Don't worry. Go preach the word of God to people. And then they give them guns to kill each other and sell. Because black people, they were taking other black people to sell them as slaves.
We never tell those stories of how many African leaders, kings, queens, chiefs, and how many ordinary Africans were involved in trading their own people for money or for favor.
Yeah. So that was actually very interesting for me. So
it didn't make you angry going through that?
It made me, number one, to start seeing and thinking that this religion thing is rubbish, number one. There is no God or any such thing. It's just man created. And that was solidified when I went to China as well. And I realized that this religion thing as well is horrible. It's a horrible thing. And it just made me think. And then when I took that drive going to Takwa, a lot of things changed in my life, seeing that I was actually not angry. I was actually feeling good that I went through that because I think I needed it at that time, and I think that's why I respect, African people from other African countries, that those people are strong. They went through, we say we went through apartheid here and whatever. It was tough, I'm sure. I never really experienced it myself, but I'm sure it was tough. But yes, if you hear other stories where other black people were doing horrible things to other black people and being sponsored by, the Western guys, etc. So, that slave trade thing, I think was the most horrible thing,
Do you think other Africans are physically stronger than us because of what they went through? I know some people say it's diet, about plantain and fufu and those things.
Diet definitely.
And also what they went through.
This thing that you spoke about earlier, about trauma, etc.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you think South Africans need to be traumatized more? So I'll use a stupid example. This is a very stupid example. Siyabulela was born, I think, naturally big. But if you look at
his life,
physically what he is now, he's not a slave as far as we know, even though there's modern slavery. He's not a slave, but what he's put his body through from being a kid to a World Cup winner twice, winning captain. Gym, diet, physically engaging other men like a gladiator. You look at him and you look at the other big rugby players. Do you think maybe part of what makes you physically stronger is that? And maybe that's why they're strong. And maybe South Africans...
Yes, for sure.
We
and
need
they
to
walk more.
Gym more, play rugby, eat more meat and pap. And
I went to Malawi last month, and the mode of transport is bicycle. Like gang bicycles
in Malawi.
Everywhere. Yeah, gang bicycles everywhere. Gang. And those tough ones. I'm not talking about the ones who change gears.
But it's just you and your legs, Baba.
Yeah. Gang, but everywhere. And they transport people with it. There's people with business that they take people from this point to that point, they pay. Gang bicycles, they fit.
They must have proper legs.
Proper. They fit. In the sun and it's hot.
I saw this in South Korea. South Koreans have stunning bodies. They also have amazing fashion. But they're very big on hiking there. And they have stunning legs. You look at some of the Europeans we've got here, the Afrikaners, Dutch, German, what. They're big on cycling, swimming. And then you look at the Fijians. A lot of mountains there as well. You've got guys like Josiwa Tuisova, physically.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, I don't know why. And obviously you've got the Ethiopians and the Kenyans in terms of long distance running. Again, goes back to that thing, poverty habits. Running away
100%.
from what's tough, climbing a mountain, lifting heavy things. I used to garden when I was young, and I remember it's what made me stronger. Running away from those things that actually make us strong. I remember I had Uwaras here, and he was saying a lot of the securities they've used as security guards and as bouncers are actually Zulu boys from northern KZN, about Luputu. Zulu boys who are big, you look at some of these taxi O's, you look at the arm, Tandi plate. You look at the arm of that O, So anyways, I was just asking about the physique. We speak about diets a lot, and we're running away from our diets for sushis and weird things. But the other thing could be just physically, whether it's rugby, whether it's gym, whether it's circumstance, where the reason I look like this is because I have to carry maize, I have to cycle, I have to climb mountains. And when you're busy saying, hey, Ntwana, your physique, Chimon, Kunsu, and you're like, Ntwana, it's circumstance that I'm this freak.
Yeah, when I was young, I was talking about carrying stuff. When I was young as well, I used to do garden, and I used to as well. After school, I used to work at this shop, delivering like flour, maize, etc. So I used to carry those things almost every day.
Butch James is a Springbok, ex-Springbok fly half. He went to Pietermaritzburg College, and I remember he said when he started bulking up for rugby, one of the decisions he made is every school holidays, he'd go work in this business or wholesaler that used to do flour and maize.
Wholesalers, Babu, you're going to carry those things.
And we run away from these things for soft life. And that's why our kids are soft and eat dula.
Soft life, it's a deadly life, actually.
Becomes a hard life later. It is soft life now, definitely. Hard life later. Yeah. Hard life now, soft life later.
100%. And I watched this video, I know, as I was going through this thing of fasting, learning about fasting, etc., or like postponing your eating time, or stop this Western thing of eating 3 times a day, and because this is this. And I listened to this video, I forgot the name of the doctor, was saying that when like his mother is like 85 or 90 or something, called him and said, listen here, you need to tell your clients that they need to make younger friends, because all my friends now are dead. And even the other ones that are 10 years younger than me, they fucked basically. So now I need to make friends with like people like 40 years, 50 years, because I'm so healthy, I'm not sick, I'm not stressed, I'm good.
Hanging around young people is very important. I don't like old age homes, but if you're going to keep old age homes, one of my solutions is to turn old age homes into daycare centers, where those old people that are doing nothing are spending time with young energy.
Yep.
They have a lot of wisdom to impart. They have a lot of patience. They obviously don't have anything else to do. And these young people keep them with energy. It's one of the stories I tell to people about having children, that your parents are going to die sooner if you don't give them grandkids. Because grandkids make you run around. You have to cook. Hey, Ozala, you smashed a neighbor's window. Now you have to enhance. Hey, but we are Jima. And obviously then you have to carry them as an old person. Gym that you wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. Abanga Fed Cook, DJ Fed Cook versus Mahuta. Looking very amazing for his age. Guys like him do. And part of it could be the fact that in the music industry, they've spent a lot of time with young people. And they're amongst young energy. So their peers at their age who are working in corporate, who are working in stressful spaces, probably look 10, 20 years older than them because they don't want to be around young people.
I was with my cousin back home, so I was like, so there's this guy that came to buy eggs, Endlin, because my mother sells them. So I was...
You guys have eggs? You must be rich, boy.
I was telling my mother actually to say, look, you selling these things at 80 Rand or 60, I think it was 50 Rand. I said, no, you can't sell a tray for 50 Rand. Do you know the price of eggs? A tray is 130.
Currently.
When
are you selling at
she bumped up the price.
The system prices?
Bumped up the price to 80 Rand. And, but they still, so this guy came through. So this is the story. So he came through and so I was like, okay, show Ntwana, I move a grand. So I was like, hey, Dasia, you can't say Ntwana,
that's an old nigga that.
I was like, no, he's actually very young. He's probably your age. He says, no, there's no way. He looks old.
Yeah.
He looks old because people don't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
When you fast, you slow down aging.
Yeah.
When you eating well, you slow down aging completely.
These are hacks, boy. Pharrell Williams.
Yeah.
These are the hacks.
Yes. Yes. You slow it down and you live longer. You add time. But people they don't know about these things, and even if they know, they just think it's too hard to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not hard. It's actually very easy to do it.
The differences in business practices in other African countries compared to us. In mining, Zama Zama, in West Africa and other spaces.
West Africa is called artisanal mining. It's not demonized like here.
Here it's demonized.
Here it's demonized because of whatever reasons. I mean, you probably know. But
what are the reasons? Well, you can't say because you're in the industry.
No, I don't care about that. I mean, I think...
Why do you think... Oban?
I mean, you can actually structure this thing properly. You know, like if like I was thinking about it the other day. If you get to... Because, I mean, these guys go to all mines. Who are they disturbing? Who are they disturbing? Because you close this mine, you said it's uneconomical for you to continue to mine because you probably need to spend more money than what you will get.
Yeah.
That's how you get to a point whereby you close the mine. But it doesn't mean that
it's too expensive to run.
It's too expensive to run. So
it doesn't mean that there aren't commodities there.
They are still there.
It just means they're too expensive for standard big business.
You need to spend more money to get a little bit that is not going to pay for what you spent for.
Yeah.
What you paid for. But those guys, they can just get in there and just go straight for the vein if it's gold. They just go straight for the vein and take it out. So it could actually be structured in a way that they say that once the mine it's closed, right? They will keep it safe, rehabilitate it, keep it safe.
Yeah.
And then maybe assist through a proper system, these guys to be able to go there legally controlled so that they can be able to take it out using their methods, that they're using. Now it has also, this thing has spilled over to active mines now. They go to because
there's Zama Zamas in mines that are operational.
So they would say there's a section of the mine that is deemed uneconomical.
Yeah.
But the other sections are working, so they'll close it. So those guys will go there because they know that there's less people going there. No, people don't go there because they say it's unsafe, there's gases, there's this and that. So they will go there and be able to mine.
Sure.
So it otherwise, it's not going to just finish overnight. It's not going to, by government saying that Zama Zamas, it's illegal, we'll arrest you, then you think that it's going to stop. It's not going to stop like that. It's either you help them out to do it properly and to bring them into the system so that we can be able to get the money as well. I mean, it will be good for the government to bring them because now you don't know what happens to that money. Nobody knows what happens to it. It's a lot of money. It's billions every year.
So people need to understand, Yobut, it's billions, that when you say a mine is uneconomical, it could be, because I worked at banks and we used to have a benchmark ROI of 25%. What that means is whatever project that we do in the bank, whatever experiments we conduct, it has to at least return 25%.
Yeah.
If it returns 20%, we leave it, which means we're leaving money on the table. So similarly, you might find with the mine...
It's exactly like that, probably.
You'll find with the mine that they say we can make $50 million here. When they say it's uneconomical, it could be that it's going to cost $60 million to get $50 million. So we'll operate at a loss. Or it's going to cost us $40 million to get $50 million. The $10 million is too little for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's going to cost us $30 million to make $50 million.
Like, nah.
It's uneconomical.
Yes.
But there's still a lot of money there. We're speaking $50 million.
Exactly. There's still a lot of value.
So people need to understand that. In what you're saying, because of how my brain works, and I know how your brain works, these Zama Zamas are selling this produce to someone.
Of course.
Or to some people.
Yeah.
Who are they selling to? And then who are those people selling to? You don't have to implicate yourself. If at any point you feel funny, I'll answer the questions for you.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of theories, and my theories developed as I
engage Zama Zamas. Because I know some of them. I've met some of the Lamachita.
Yeah. So one, I think the mine operators themselves, they're probably involved, but they will never say it,
Because they still want the 50 million?
Of course.
But they don't want to pay 30 million, but they can get it for 15.
Yeah.
And not pay taxes.
Yeah.
And not have to deal with human rights violations.
You don't have to do
no
nothing.
labor laws.
Nothing. Yes, 100%. Now you've got it. So that's one of my theory. And
the big mine owners are the ones behind Zama Zama.
Yeah.
With the help of government? Because we don't have borders and things here.
Why is it's so easy to close these places? Just go put a shaft. It's like one hole. You can just go put a concrete and close it,
but they're not closed.
Why are they not closing them?
Sasi now a plastic city.
Yes, in Spring Brakpan. Is it Brakpan? Is it where?
Might be.
Yes.
Springs Brakpan.
Plastic
city.
Plastic city. Yes.
Sasibona Mozambican guys. Zama Zama iphume Spanini.
Yes.
I was in Germiston as well at a squatter camp called Rasta with some guys from Lesotho. They looking dusty.
Here in Joburg, man, when you're driving
towards the east on the entry.
Yes, it's they're just there. I mean, how many metro corps and police and everybody passing there? I mean, nothing happens. I made an example yesterday to say, actually, these things sometimes they just being designed or being left like that because we don't understand what value they bring to who.
Correct.
I had a conversation and I was asking, people believe that these Hiluxes and GD6 and whatever and Fortunas, when they go to Mozambique, then I asked the question, I don't think there's more than 100 roads going to Mozambique with these things. And you can't fly with the car. So, to Mozambique. Yeah. So I was like, how many roads are there?
Sure.
I mean, there's maybe one border and maybe the other road from Swaziland side, but you need to go through Swaziland maybe to go out there or whatever the case might be. But those guys want easy stuff. They don't want to deal with, because
it becomes too expensive. You might as well buy a new car.
Yeah, it becomes too risky.
Yeah.
So they say it's like probably one road that goes out.
Sure.
So I said, okay, it's easy. To safeguard South Africans, you can just go build a wall.
Sure, go close the road.
Just go build a big wall, big strong wall, and then you close the road. But no. And it's going to be very cheap and South Africans are going to feel very safe or whatever the case. Just go.
Big business, you agree with me that you think politicians might also be involved? By involved, I mean turn a blind eye. Maybe some of the big minds that are
I think
funding them.
Turning blind eyes in a lot of things. And
yeah. You said you had a couple of theories. I don't know if you have any more besides the big companies behind Zama Zama.
The other one is I think as well, I mean, the neglect or ignoring from the government also, I mean, suspicious for me.
Yeah.
You talking about politicians. So I think those are my theories. And I think there's big business people, like people with big money, that are also involved funding this.
You've told me something scary about Zama Zamas, which I didn't understand. So in my head, this is how I think about it. We speak about Mozambicans, about Chitase Lesotho. There's probably a lot of South Africans as well. The first thing I think is, so these guys go to a mine that is closed or whatever. They go down there for maybe 5 hours, 10 hours a day, and then they come up.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I'm thinking. Then the second thing is, I'm sure these guys probably make maybe 5,000, 10,000 rand a month. So I'd like you to respond to that. How long do some of these guys spend under there? And how much have you heard that they might be making?
So some of them, they spend up to a year. I remember that this guy...
That doesn't make sense in my head.
I'm telling you.
They spend a year where? Around the mine.
Underground.
Underneath the earth.
Underneath the earth.
Deep underneath the earth.
Deep underneath the earth.
For a year, they don't come up.
They don't come
up. They're in jail.
Yeah. And when you speak to some of these guys, they will tell you, I mean, if you start selling things like cigarettes, food, it's so expensive, man. They sell maybe probably a cigarette for like 30 rand or 50 rand.
Down there.
Down there. Because there's people that go there to sell.
I don't understand. You've been down a mine shaft.
Yeah, and I'll never go again. I hate it. Yeah. But
I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if there's been documentaries, maybe I should go watch, the living conditions of someone that would be there for weeks, months. Where are they sleeping? Is there something like a room? Is it like a cave? Is spongy gupi? That's what I'm not understanding. Because I'm thinking of a hole. Where are you sleep? And where are people coming to sell? And the people selling, are they coming down every day, or do they also sleep there and push trade?
I think they sleep there. I mean, they come enough stock maybe for a week, or it depends what you're selling. And then from there, if it's finished, you go up. And you know your clients now, because it's not like thousands and thousands of people in that one place. So you know your clients, you know what they need. And when you go up, they give you probably a list. I need this and that and that. And then you go up, you go bring them, and then you come down, you chill with them, and you give them whatever service. You cook, you sell the food. So it's a complete industry on its own down there. And people are willing to do that for a living.
Why? The monies.
Because of money. And
have you ever heard of any ranges guys might be making?
Yeah, they making good money. And so some of the guys they would make, depending how much they get, they would make between 50 to 150,000 probably, depending what it is.
A month in rands.
Yeah.
50 to 100,000, 150,000 rand a month.
Yeah.
To go underground and be a mole.
Yeah.
Because I read a story of a guy, I don't know if he's from Lesotho or where, who went underground for I don't know how many months, and the amount of money he came back with, he built a huge house and he started a huge business back home.
For sure. And that is why it's going to be difficult for this thing to finish, because there's a lot of people that have stopped now doing it. But there's just, after stopping, and if I live with you somewhere in Lesotho or somewhere in Stekspruit, right? And then you know what I was doing, and I come back and I'm like beasting businesses, doing this and that. I'm like, hey, Baba, I'm going as well.
I have to.
So it's a cycle.
Look at Utasi, Baba.
Yeah.
I want
so
the
you
same.
Definitely go.
The biggest criminals are whoever's buying from these guys and whoever they're selling to. Similar arguments has been made with the copper wires that get stolen and scrap metals that we need to figure out. And I know Praveen Kordan and those guys have said they want to shut it down and they only want one hub controlled by the government to collect these things to verify, of which I think they're just trying to close the taps for other guys to eat.
Yes.
A lot of people always assume it might be Chinese that are importing, but I think that I agree with you. I think there's a lot of some of the most respected big mining businesses that are involved in these things because they've done the maths. $50 million, we can either spend 30 million, or if you can tell me that you've got some guys who can do the right thing and we'll pay them $10 million. To those guys, mind you, that is everything. What's $10 million in rands?
Yes,
that is
almost 200 million.
That's a windfall. And
almost
you're telling me we can pay these guys 10 million. We don't have to pay 30.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about human rights violations, who died. We can supply them with dynamite here and there.
We're not involved.
We'll just make sure they drop off these things. And then from the 10 million to the 50, we make 40 million instead of the 10 we were going to make. We live large. If there were any politicians, we take $5 million. Doesn't matter if they put them on their farms, under couches and mattresses. They can stuff some of that money there. Now, make an example of something that could happen.
You didn't mention names.
No. It's just an idea. You're currently working in Mozambique.
I'm currently working in Mozambique. Yeah.
How has that experience been? And specifically, I don't know if you're comfortable speaking about your bosses and the way they operate. Because this is something you've spoken to me in confidence about.
Yeah. Hey, Baba, I mean,
it's Mozambique, it's a different country, so it's not South Africa. Labor laws and kono pravin, no kwede montage, no kwede, no pravin there.
So, first of all, I think it's the best decision I've made this year. I think I'm loving the fact that I went to work there. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I think I work with the most brilliant and beautiful minds, which is the Indian owner of the mine.
From India?
From India.
Okay, not from Durban. Penuel,
No,
the Indians we know are from Durban.
Exactly from India.
India.
Yeah. There's actually no Indian there from South Africa.
Okay.
They're all from India.
Okay.
And extremely brilliant people. I've learned so much from them and the way they operate. You know, the chairman will come, an extremely curious mind, extremely brilliant person. And you will come, interact with everybody. He will walk, he walks, he fasts as well. He's extremely healthy. And that guy is very healthy. He lives a different life from a normal chairman like in South Africa who would want to be moving around, being...
a fancy car,
fancy
as if he's a big boss,
no.
Board meetings.
No. So the decision making, it's insane. I've never seen a place where when they're supposed to make decision, it's so quick. The guy's like, what do you want? No, I want this and this. Why? Then you explain technically, you said, and then he says, what is going to be the cash score? Then you say, no, this is what the cash score is going to be over this period. Then he's going to say, okay, cool. Approved. Go get it. That's it.
We have a problem in South Africa, right?
That's it. No red tape, no nothing. Nothing.
We have one of the most advanced economies on the African continent, and it's celebrated. Hey, our banking systems and our... But for a developing nation, especially on the African continent, the amount of time it takes us to make decisions on small things. I'm thinking of a school, a clinic, that when they need to procure things need to go to tender. Then you have to wait and approval after approval, and then there needs to be budget. And then by the time, and you're trying to turn around. It's why a lot of us like small businesses, because they can move quicker.
Lead time is just too much, man. And you're right.
And in mining, there's no way you can ask for something and get it today. There's no way.
No. So for me, if I ask for something and it really makes sense, and that's why sometimes I didn't believe it when they told me that this is how we work here.
You almost feel like they're talking shit, but it's because you come from an oppressive space.
Yeah, for sure. And then sometimes they will be impatient with me to say, but we told you if you ask, and you will give it to you.
Just do it.
So just do it. Don't waste time. Don't try to overthink things or whatever the case might be. Let's do it. If it doesn't work, it's fine.
Sure. Then it's fine. So they're not scared of failure, the thing we talked about earlier.
No. If it doesn't work, it's fine. We'll try another one. But you must try. And big thing about being better than before. Huge. They're the ones who introduced me to the one thing, the book. They said, Sia, before you start working here, you must read this book and finish it. Then I read it. And they say you must make notes. Give us 150 takeouts from the book.
That is part of your work culture.
It's a part of the work culture. You need to read this book.
I need to give a shout out to Bobby Petkoff. He owns Midmac Motors in Pretoria. He's built the system where he works because he's a Bulgarian. He's got this system where every month they have a book club with his dealers, the guys that sell the cars, his car salesmen. They go through a book, they go through the takeouts. What can we learn? And then people recommend a book and to make sure that our staff is constantly being upgraded mentally and we're sharp and we're all sort of on the same. So that when I say, Don, you remember from the one thing, you can't be, Don, I don't read books. I don't know what you're talking about. We're all plugged in because we remember that takeout that we spoke about.
And you continuously challenged.
Sure.
Continuously challenged. You are forced to think. I've never been forced to think as much as I've in my entire life. I think in the 5 months, I think my thinking has been they force you to think, which is extremely good. I mean, I've never worked in an environment like that. So you sit and they brainstorm.
People don't know what you mean, bro. That's when you're like, it's the most. They force me to think. It's the most challenging. So, but what do you mean? Just kabanga. Thinking is the highest. It's the highest paid occupation in the world. If you look at what the United Nations is, if you look at our governments, if you look at people that sit on the boards, even non-executive members, all those people are paid to think.
Yes.
You pump them with information. You come up with solutions, Elon Musk, and then come back and tell us what you think. What you think.
My CEO actually asked me, was like, Sia, tell me, what do you think is your job? Hey, Baba. Then I said,
yeah, Baba. What do you mean?
Exactly that. I was like, it's such a simple question, but it becomes so difficult, you know. And then obviously I gave a wishy-washy response and a traditional response. And he said, no, that's not your job. Your job is just to think. And once you finish thinking, you don't have to do anything. That's your job.
I need to give a shout out to Russell Searle, one of my favorite bosses when I was still in banking and still a little Popeye in corporate like you guys. Because you're still a Popeye.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a free man. That's why I pay food, Baba. I keep bosses on me. Oh, now you're
I'm pay food, Baba.
Oh, to sevenza with Indians. So, do you still want coffee?
Yeah, the coffee. Yeah.
Please. Thank you very much, Debza.
Black name?
But we can shut this thing down. We can have the coffee now.
No, okay. No, that's fine.
Can you wait 10 minutes?
Yeah, of course.
Because you see, I will keep coming back. I've netenda la baba. Lo mchito ngishanga empama. So ngathi ntwana owe me 10 podcast episodes for le empama. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. I think we'll have coffee after.
Yeah.
Russell Searle. I
think he came here. He's the guy that came here.
No, he's never been here.
Who's the? Oh, there's a guy that came here who sells cars and stuff.
Oh, Bobby Petkoff.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's been here.
Okay, I'll watch the podcast.
So Russell, I have my own issues with just him as a person. But that's not important, and I've never said this to him. But his philosophy as a manager, as young as I was then, it opened my mind again thinking. Because I came from a space where, funny enough, I had a manager who was Indian lady, micromanagers. Everywhere, she wants to know everything. Russell was like, I looked at your CV, you've done some entrepreneurial stuff, I see your upbringing. Bro, I just want you to think. Anything that is technical, we've got some guys who will shaft all of that stuff to those guys. All I want is your brain. I just want you to sit, think, go visit. He's like, go visit the call centers, go visit the auctions. I was working in vehicle and asset finance. I'll invite you to meetings, any meeting you want.
What is it that you can implement that can...
And he was an entrepreneur. He was also hired. He was coming to do some research work at Standard Bank, and whoever was the head there was like, I like you, come work. White privilege. Come work. So he didn't know how to use Excel. I could code. He didn't know how to use Microsoft Excel. He never opened his laptop. He'd get to meetings, you'd say something, he'd be like, explain it to me. Like I'm an idiot, of which maybe he was. He didn't understand technique. Is it going to make us money? Is it going to meet the ROI? Are we happy? And then he's like, okay, I'm going to organize a meeting with my head. You're going to come present it. And he made me realize a manager manages people and manages outcomes. He's not there to micromanage. He's like, Angit, we hired you because you're the guy. Okay, when we go to my boss, because my boss pays me to manage you, you're going to come and explain it to him because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And he'd literally take us to meetings. And I realized that taking us to meetings made him look good. With your staff is fucking on point, whereas the last person would take your ideas, sit with you, want to figure them out, and then want to go pitch them as if they're theirs. And I was like, this guy is pretty dope. And the idea of being brought in to think, which you take for granted. And I think for a lot of people that try and ask me, how do you meet all these people? How do you meet these people? And I'm like, I think there's something they like about my brain. Because guys will fly me to a place, book me in a hotel, feed me whatever I want to eat, give me whatever.
Just have a chat.
And they're like, I just want you to see something and just go wild, bro. Just tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think this is stupid. And they're like, why? No, for these reasons. And they're like, okay. And later on, I realized these motherfuckers are getting me like, Zama Zama. Zama Zama in Rondo, man. Which I could have paid McKinsey. McKinsey's their favorite. Yeah. I could have paid McKinsey fucking 5 million rand to get a report. Upenzo's going to chill with me every now and then. We're going to go with my family. And then he's going to tell me...
And he's going to give me a raw thing.
I don't think this is optimal. Why? Why do you guys have to take the truck up there and then it comes? It doesn't make... Why don't you build a conveyor belt? Because I've seen this documentary. What documentary? Here, this one. No, sure, Penzo. And then Usia goes back to Mozambique and he chills there with his chairman. It's like, no, I think we should put a conveyor belt. Except Penzo, don't wanna come through. Let's pry. This fucking monkey here.
Yeah, so this thinking
paying
thing.
You to think. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah. So
sorry, does your CEO and your chairman, do they know the depth of who you are, you think? Or do they think you think they just assumed based on your work experience that you've probably seen the world, you've traveled?
No, the CEO goes to your brain when even when he hires people, he has a very, very funny way. When I say funny, not in a bad way, but he's got a very different way. Let me put it that way.
So he looks at the technical, but then he wants to spend
doesn't care
time
about
with you.
CV, by the way.
Okay.
He doesn't care. He sits with you, then he starts asking you a few questions, and he just want to figure out how do you think,
Sure.
you know, and then from there he says, okay, come. So because he's actually from IT background, right? But he's a CEO of a mining company.
Sure.
Okay. And he was also hired exactly probably like that, because I think he told me to say he was told to go to the mine and just tell them what he thinks. And then he went there and he came back and he told them. Then the chairman was like, hey, Baba, fire the current CEO, I'll hire you.
Ark.
And then he came through. And people were like, but this guy is not in mining. And this guy, you know, knows nothing about mining. Hey, but that guy is smart. He thinks. He goes to a place, he asks questions. You know, and there's one of the big things I've learned there, you know, even from the book, the one thing is that how do you practically actually teach someone? You teach someone through asking questions.
Yeah.
So he will ask questions. Okay, we'll say, okay, so why you didn't perform? Why this and that? Then I'll say, and he also doesn't like it if you're gonna go back and say, I think this is what has happened and what he wants you to break it down.
Sure.
To say, okay, I think yesterday we were multitasking. We moved these trucks here, we put them to this place, and it says, but why did you do that? You know, then I'll answer. So I think he knows more about mining than a lot of mining engineers right now.
Johan Rupert, through Herzog, I think Dr. Herzog, they own the biggest private hospital group in the country, Mediclinic. And how they came to own it was Johan Rupert and Herzog, their fathers were in business. Dr. Anton Rupert and Herzog's father, they both went to Stellenbosch together. Herzog went and actually finished his medicine degree and became a medical doctor. Johan Rupert, because we clowned, went and dropped out in second year. Again, white privilege. Tamalaka sent him to America to go and learn mergers and acquisitions and private equity and those things at the top banks. I think it might have been either Chase Manhattan or Goldman Sachs. And then he came back, and Herzog didn't want to leave. The fathers called him back. Said, we've got a family business here. Now you must come work. And Herzog was like, I like healthcare. So then Rupert was sent on a thing of go find something for this guy to do. And he went and he bought a private clinic and they built it into Mediclinic. I'm raising Johan Rupert because we criticize Umsholozi so much for being uneducated. And we discount that from when he dropped out in grade 4, whatever they say, the amount of time he spent on the ground in politics, spending time with some of the greatest minds, you know, some of the greatest teachers, reading books.
I've got a different view.
We don't do the same with entrepreneurs. Zuma becoming president was almost him becoming a billionaire. But if, let's say, Johan Rupert or someone else dropped out of school,
becoming a president, it's actually a miracle in our lifetime.
You'll explain it.
Yeah.
If a Johan Rupert does that and he becomes a billionaire, it's like he's rich. You're like, but you don't keep saying drop out. You don't say Mark Zuckerberg the drop out. This guy shouldn't be in business. Bill Gates drop out. Johan Rupert funded a boy, Justin Stanford, who was at his high school, Paul Roos Gymnasium, dropped out in grade 9 to become an IT entrepreneur, very successful today, because they understand that it's not about a certificate.
No, it's not about that.
We don't afford people like Umsholozi the same. I want to respect this guy, this IT guy who didn't study IT, for running a mine. I think I'm more scared of him than the guy who studied mining engineering running this thing. Why do you think Umsholozi is American?
I think, if you look at it, exactly what you've just said now, if you look at his background, Umsholozi, the way we are taught, the way we are raised, with the grade 4 or grade 3 that he has, how do you become a president? How do you get to the level whereby you work? It's hard for people that have been in politics for years and years and years to become president. Sure. It's very hard. But Umsholozi, like you're saying, he's actually probably extremely educated, Umsholozi. And not this formal education we're talking about of paper and whatever. I know a lot of people that are formally educated, but they're extremely uneducated. I know a lot of people.
Zero in the brain.
You're like, okay, let's have a conversation. Then you realize, no, man, this person and the only thing is gonna flash is like, I've got this degree, I've got an MBA, I've got this, and which means nothing actually in the bigger scheme of things. Informal education, it's actually currency, Baba. It's
Dr.
gold.
Sebi.
Yeah, informal education is dope. I mean, now, we've got education in our hands. Every day, wherever you go, if you go to China, their TikTok is structured in such a way that it's learning. It's not like this nonsense of us here, but it's learning.
I like arguing that TikTok point, but I'll share my thoughts.
Yeah. So.
You speak about Umsholozi.
Umsholozi is a miracle. For me, he's a miracle. I mean, the guy, he came, in our language, we will say he came from nothing and he became a president of the country.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a miracle. It's something that we need to learn from. It should be an education to say, I want to be like Umsholozi. I want to come from nothing whether with formal education or no formal education. This guy has proven you can be a president of the country, like you're saying, that came close to become a billionaire, from coming from nothing,
Are you comfortable to discuss your qualifications?
Yeah, for sure.
Can you please give them to us? So you've obviously got matric with distinction in maths. And then?
Mining engineering degree.
Mining engineering.
Yeah. Okay. And the last one, the MBA.
You've got an MBA.
Yeah.
And then you've got all this experience working across the African continent.
Yeah.
If you were to call yourself 100%, how much of that would you attribute, or your intelligence, 100% intelligence, how much of your intelligence would you attribute to your formal qualifications?
5%, and I'll tell you why. 5% because I've learned how to read and write through that. That's all.
The other 95% is all informal.
It's all informal.
Meeting books, meeting people,
experiences, dealing with people. You learn more from doing. You learn more from asking. You learn more from not knowing. You learn more from failing. I've learned more since I've been in Moz, just by brainstorming. My boss, if I go to him and say, you know what, I've been trying to get this thing, and Penuel is, I don't think he's understanding. He'll say, okay, just hold on, let's add Penuel to this call. Then he'll ask you, Penuel, do you understand? And he's not like shouting or anything. He'll like, Pen. Because he also wants to tap into your mind. He wants to tap into your mind. Maybe there's a reason why Pen doesn't want to do this, And he would come to you and say, Pen, listen here, do you understand why you want to get this? Then Pen will say, not really, but I think what Sia said is this and this and this and that. And then he says, okay, but do you understand now? And maybe he says, okay, that's exactly what Sia said. Or he says, no, not 100%, but this is the reason. But do you understand why we need to get it? And do you understand how it's going to benefit the company? Do you understand that we need it on time? And the reasons why we need it on time is because if you're going to try to waste time looking for a cheaper thing, and the expensive thing is here, and we can get it within a week, and the cheaper thing we can get it within 2 months. Do you understand that it's actually much more expensive because we could have made 10 times more than with the expensive. But do you understand those things? Then the guy will say, now I understand. He says, what are you going to do now since you understand? He's not going to say, go do it. No. Then you would say, I'm going to work on it now so that I bring it for approval. He says, no, approved. Just get it done. Then conversation
Your work is a lot of troubleshooting, finding bottlenecks, problem solving.
Yeah.
Which is why the mind of an engineer is important, the mind of an IT person, solving problems. But there's a design in solving problems. You don't just go and solve problem. You need to understand the real problem. Yeah. Sometimes the problem that you think it's a problem is not the problem. Yes. So you need to find the real problem. Zama Zamas are not the problem. Artisanal miners. No. The problem is somewhere else.
Those people are actually zero problem.
I'm going to tell this story because I know Debs is going to like it. And then I'm going to let you close off.
Yeah.
We were speaking about informal education, and I just recently rewatched an amazing movie called The Gentleman. Written and directed by one of my favorite directors and writers, Guy Ritchie. I think Debs likes him as well. He's one of my favorite storytellers. I made the mistake. You know, when you have a curious mind, sometimes you go too deep in studying. There's a point where you're supposed to stop. You're not supposed to go further down. But I went and I studied Guy Ritchie's life. And one of the things that came out is that he dropped out of school at age 15. And he went to go and work in filming. And he's created really amazing movies. 2 movies that did big money were Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. They each, off a budget of between $80 and $100 million, made over $540 million each. But his most successful movie, which was a crap movie, was Aladdin with Will Smith. It made over $1 billion off a budget of either 100 or 200 million, doesn't matter. But you look at the Guy Ritchie story, dropping out at 15. Jamie Oliver as well, famous cook who struggled with dyslexia. Richard Branson, dyslexia. These guys that, Jacob Zuma, maybe Julius Malema, these guys that start off, they leave the formal education earlier than us. So it used to be about reading and writing. And they're forced to start doing life. When you get to age 18, Guy Ritchie's had 3 years of film industry experience.
Yep.
When you finish your qualification at age 23, maybe, he's been in the industry for 10 years. The day you start working as an intern, you're meeting him at the exact same age and he's got 10 years experience on you. And then you're supposed to compete with that all. But you've got a certificate.
You can't.
It's a certificate,
that thing doesn't work. This thing of, and a lot of people, they say, but I mean, you've got this MBA, you can't say it's crap. Look, personally, I've never opened a book studying MBA. Never. I had all those textbooks, everything. For me, it was so boring. That and I think I did it. I wanted to make a point that this whole thing is rubbish. But it's difficult to tell an MBA person that this thing is rubbish without having it. They catch feeling without having it. It's because you don't have it.
It's because you don't have it.
Yeah. So now because I have it, I can say it. So I was like, so I used to watch YouTube videos. So one of the best subjects, which I never studied finance when I was, because I did math, science, and so was corporate finance. That was my best. But through YouTube, I just watch YouTube videos. I sit there. Maybe I'll watch 10 of them. And then I understand. And if whatever other subject, management accounting, I go watch YouTube videos. Whatever it is, I just watch YouTube because the information is there. I just go Google it. That's all I did. And because a textbook will tell you a lot of stories, but you actually get tired looking at it. I mean, you don't, by the time you finish reading it, you can't remember what was happening on page number 4.
Yeah.
So I find it very useless, the whole system of textbooks and stuff. So, but exactly what you're saying, through experience, you need to experience life, Baba. You need to fail. You need to realize that, when I arrived in Joburg and I was a cameraman, when I bought the Kodak camera,
photographer. Not a cameraman, but what tapes will catch feelings.
As a
photographer. Yeah, Baba.
So the first film, it was like those old ones, 36. I think like probably 15 or so pictures. Because I didn't know how to do it. The head is off, or the legs are off, or something, or you've moved to the side too much, then I left a lot of space here.
When you shoot,
yeah,
you like these goggles that when they hold phones, they shoot like this, and then your picture comes up blurry. And
then when I went to and I was young, then I went to Joburg, and I went to, I think it was Canon, and I asked this lady, I said, how do I take good pictures? Now I'm buying the second film, and now the students have eaten me, Baba, that day. Our 5 friend. So now, and now this lady says, you need to leave, when you look at the lens, you need to leave equal space at the top and at the bottom and on the sides. Just leave equal space for starters. That's all you need to do. Just make sure that, then that's what I did. And then the second film was good because I asked and I experienced it. And I became good. And without going to school. And I became very good with it. And I was I wanted to say cameraman at school. I was the only one. I was a photographer. And it was nice, and made good money there with that. But through experience, you become the beast. You need to live it. Yeah. You can't just sit in class and consume information. That's not education. That's schooling. You can't just sit there and consume information. When you get out, you're tired, you want to go eat, you're thinking of your friends, you're thinking of rubbish stuff. You're not even there.
Yeah.
But when you experience things, you are there.
Stimulating.
You're there. It's stimulating. You're there. You're debating the point. You're sitting there and you're sharing your views. Whether they're correct or not doesn't matter. You're not scared to fail, because, if you drop out, a lot of people will say, hey, I don't think it's going to end in tears, And a lot of people that take chance, because, how long are you going to live?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Being in a conducive environment is key.
It's very key.
I'm thinking of Umsholozi, because he was taught, I think, by Harry Kwala, who was a principal at Robben Island. He was there around about Nelson Mandela. So these guys are debating politics. These are the guys that ended up running the country. Instead of you reading a book, this guy was arguing with the guys who have books written about them. And if you can't be in that type of environment, I look at Jewish kids who are going to be around uncle, whoever owns this business, auntie, whoever is invested here. Even at the dinner table, even if you're bored, they're talking about their shares and their investments and where to put money and how to avoid tax. And you're learning without even choosing it.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you can't get into those environments, then the importance is curating what you consume online.
Yes.
Because that becomes your environment. And this was going to be my argument with TikTok. People keep saying that TikTok's algorithms are different and they're geared towards education. And South Africa's TikTok is geared towards entertainment, dance challenges, and. So my defense is this. Number one, I curate my social media. My Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube is arguably like whatever you say China is. I get a lot of educational content because when the videos come up, those are the videos I watch. Those are the videos I like. When I see bum videos, I swipe fast. I don't like them.
It won't come.
And on Facebook, I'll say I don't like this type of content. Now, what I've realized happens in areas is that in certain geographies, certain content is recommended. So if you're in South Africa, the algorithm will say most people here like Mocha Love. Most of them liked this video. Your friends liked this picture.
Yes.
So then it gets suggested. It is not that the people in China, be TikTok, are like, no, send more palms to South Africa. No.
I see what you're saying.
It's because the people here generally lean towards that so that they'll suggest it. But if you keep swiping past that and you like the engineering videos and you keep saying, I don't like this type of content, you will have that. And what happens in spaces like China and other countries, it could be culture, it could be a socialization. You look at Indian kids in South Africa, you can imagine on the average Indian boy's phone, probably a lot of car videos and things that they're following.
Yes.
You go to Campo Coco Wesonto, there'll be a lot of gospel, pastor, what, who's this pastor now? No, this one I like the way he, because that's what they into.
And a lot of pastors' content will come through.
Kind of situation. So it's not that...
That probably makes sense.
It's not that in TikTok they decided the kids here will learn education and will distract the kids in Africa. It's mostly what you are into and the environment you're in. And then
that's true.
If the environment you're in is not great, because everyone wants to speak about bombs and girls and cars, get yourself out of there and put yourself in a space. Most of our townships, I'd like to think there is a library there. But how many people are going to the library? You're going to be the kid that goes to the library until you go to a space where everyone just has books around them. You're like,
and everyone
this is the
reading.
Space I want to be in.
And everyone is just thinking,
Closing words, please, before we have coffee.
Yeah. So, first of all, I think for me, the education that we're sharing in terms of health, the education that we're sharing in terms of building a solid mental base, for me, I think that's very important, because if you have a weak mind, you're living in a very tough world. You're going to go through these things that they call depression, anxiety, stress, which is not good for your health. You're going to get sicknesses that are crazy, So I just wish that people can take these things seriously. I just wish that people can take a stand, go research for yourself, Maybe don't take my word for it. Try it out. I mean, see it happening to you,
First-hand experience is best.
It's the best.
Fast, walk, do the things and see after a month or 3 months.
And when you're sleeping, you're fasting too, man. If you're sleeping that 8 hours, you're 8 hours in. Yeah. Just push 8 hours more. I mean, from if you slept at 10 You wake up at 6, that's 8 hours, right? And then from there you push, maybe you eat at 12.
Yeah.
And then that's like 14 hours. And you're good, you know, and that's fasting. You know, we fasted for 14 hours. So that's good for you. It's extremely good. And over a period of time, you get used to it and you take it to 24 hours. Mini habits, you know, you don't have to force. Don't fight with your brain. Work with your brain through habits. Don't be disciplined. Like we are taught that you need to be disciplined because you're going to fall back. Discipline, it's not the one, you know.
Like TikTok, curate your life.
Curate your life, yeah. So I just wish that a lot of these sicknesses that people are living with, they can, I don't take like tablets, or I don't go and get, I don't do those things, and I don't get sick.
Hey, you're not good for the industry.
I don't get sick. So I think that's what, and you know, there's certain brain cells that get sort of developed when you start doing these things. There's so much health benefits for you as a person if you start following this lifestyle, you know. Just mini habits. And I'm not saying that like starve yourself and you know, like now be unreasonable with, no, just certain things. Just cut one thing, just cut sugar. So my tea and coffee now tastes so sweet because I don't take sugar. It's good. It's actually my taste buds
have adjusted.
I've adjusted, like it's not horrible actually. It has to be like that. It's just that our taste buds are so horribly conditioned with this sweet sugar and this. For me, something sweet, it tastes so horrible now. You know, if I can drink any tea or anything with sugar, someone made me tea and they put sugar. It tastes so horrible. And I was like, no, man, don't do that. Let's, you know, but we, as human beings, we need to start taking care of our lives, you know. We're dying. A lot of young people are dying, man. These conversations, that's why they're important. A lot of young people are dying. A lot of young people have got diseases that we thought they belong to Abomkulu, Nawakoko before, you know. But they have them now at the age of 25, 30, whatever.
Gout, arthritis, diabetes,
everything,
high
man.
cholesterol.
Everything, man. Everything. It's unbelievable, you know. So that is my wish, and I think we must continue to educate people through such platforms, so that at some point, you know, my hope is that at some point, is that few people, even if out of 100, 2 people do it, that's good enough.
It's enough.
Yeah, if 2 people take it and move forward and do it, it's good enough. And people can say, you know, I won't be able to read books like you. Hey, Baba, you can. You're always having data for rubbish stuff.
If you can read 1 million tweets in a day and watch 1 million TikTok videos, you can definitely watch videos and read books.
Yeah, you can't tell me. I mean, you sometimes get to spaces whereby you've got like free Wi-Fi. So what I do, like if I would download videos that I would like, if I'm researching about something or I'm interested in something, I'll download the videos and then leave them there. When I travel or have an opportunity, or when I'm walking in the morning or running, I just listen to them.
Sure.
You know, I just listen to them, and that's part of education, which is very important. People must self-educate themselves. Must stop wasting a lot of time with nothing. Like we waste a lot of time, Baba.
Yeah.
You know, you see like what you're saying you've done now for you, like you block your whole week, you know, because that's time blocking to say, okay, for me, this is how my day would look like. You know, I need to wake up in the morning, go for a 1 hour walk, come back, do 5 push-ups or 10 push-ups, and I need quiet time. You know, that's one of the best things actually that happened to me, because I always like having a lot of people around me, and I realized that having quiet time has become a huge thing. Like I'm loving it.
You need to fast from human beings. And diet away from them, because they come with a lot of energy as well.
Yes, a lot of horrible energy. So that has helped me in these 5 months. I've spent a lot of time by my own, and that has helped me a lot as well. So when I go out to have engagements and stuff, it actually feels good, because I mean it's structured, it's nice, you know. But if it's like erratic at any given time, there's a gang people there, they're speaking no sense. And they argue from a point of emptiness, you know, it becomes a problem.
People should travel through the African continent?
I would encourage people to travel through Africa. It's actually crazy. My next stop now is going to be Zimbabwe, and I'm going to do it before end of this month. I'm gonna drive to Zimbabwe. I've never been there, and I think next year early I wanna go to Swaziland. You know, and I'm gonna go to Zambia. I think in December. I'm gonna drive to Zambia as well.
Siyabulela Ngcangca. Siyabulela Tata.
Thank you so much.
Let's go have this coffee.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.